welcome back. We are on geometry. We're going to looking at triangles in different shapes, but we're mainly right now going to focus on congruence and just doing a little review of what we know about triangles. So this triangle here, okay, so if you just think about triangles all together, they're a flat figure made up of three straight lines that connect together and form angles in the corners. The sum of these angles, sum meaning to add, right? So angle X plus angle Y plus angle Z always equals 180 degrees. Another thing that we know is that these lines here are called the legs, and if we have a right angle triangle, what's opposite that, that's the hypotenuse. So it does have three legs, but the angle or the line opposite of the right angle is called the hypotenuse. Okay, so triangles have legs, right? These are classified the legs. There's three of them. The one opposite is the hypotenuse, and it's always longer or slightly more longer, right? And if it wasn't, so if I made it so that these lines were the same length, they would be too short. They will never meet. No matter how shallow the triangle gets, they can never meet. And if the lines are the exact same length of the hypotenuse, then they will just fall flat and make a perfectly straight line overlapping the hypotenuse. An equilateral triangle has three equal sides and three equal angles. Though the leg measurements can be anything, so long as they all remain the same. Okay, so these will always be 60, 60, 60. These can change in length, but that's what makes it up an isosceles or an equilateral triangle. Going on to the isosceles triangle, it is a triangle that two sides are the same, and you know that because they have the one single line that goes through, and these angles here, usually what I do on those angles is I'll also put a line through that just shows that they're equal to each other. So those angles are equal to each other. Okay? So that's an isosceles triangle. Right triangles, we know right triangle because it has a right angle. Okay? The angles on the other sides, they don't have to equal each other. So that's what these two lines here show, that they don't really need to equal each other, but this is a right angle triangle. And then a right angle triangle is a triangle in which one of the angles measures 90 degrees. This means that the sum of the other two angles also have to equal 90 degrees. So if this was 40 degrees, this would be 50 degrees, right? I did that twice. Okay, so another thing that we know about triangles, and these are things that we already know what to do with triangles. So finding the perimeter here, this would just be the length 1 here plus length 2 here, right? And length 3. So adding up the outside, that is finding the perimeter. The Pythagorean theorem we use if we don't know, I'm just going to make this skinnier because it's just too thick to write with. Okay, the Pythagorean theorem is what we do if we don't know the length of one of the sides. So if I label this would be remember this, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we're looking at if I didn't know what this was, right? Or if I didn't know what this one was. But the legs here, I'm going to change colors so you can see, are always A and B. It doesn't really matter which one you sign, but C is always the hypotenuse. And it always goes here. Okay? And then we have area of a triangle, which is the base times the height, and it doesn't matter, it's facing whatever way, so the base times the height, and then knowing that this is usually area of a square, right? So this isn't a square, this is a square cut in half, so we have to divide it by 2, and that will give us the area of that triangle. Okay, so there is an activity for you to do. It's just kind of a pre-assessment to see what you know. So just to make sure you do that. And that would be it.